How do you break addiction to technology and the internet in your child's life? And this is what I am talking about today. So, welcome to another episode as I talk about technology, the internet, and young people. And last week, I spoke about a few ways that you can detect if your child is addicted to technology and the internet. And I hope it really helped you. And today, I want to speak about a few practical ways that you can help break that addiction in their lives, because it is so important that we step up and do something. Because if your kids are addicted right now, if you watched last week's episode and you saw quite a few of the signs, one or two or three of them, then it's time to do something. And as I carry on, I want to just address this from in a child's life. In the next weeks, I will speak about teenagers, because like I said, how they deal with technology and the effects and addiction is totally different in their lives compared to a child who is 8 years old or 7 years old or 2 or 3 years old, because there are some kids who are exposed to technology at that age. So in this episode, I'm going to be dealing with more the young kids, right? 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, and younger. And then next week and so on, I'll speak about teenagers. But yes, practical ways of how we can break addiction. And one of the things is I spoke about this, to reduce screen time. It's so important that we immediately reduce screen time. Like I said, one of the signs is if you take away a phone or a device from your child and they start having tantrums, or they start getting sad and angry and fighting and aggressive, then they are addicted and something needs to be done. And that is to reduce screen time. But remember, it's also telling them how parents, we need to teach our children why we're taking away their phones, and this is the important part. It's long gone are the days of just telling them, don't do this because I said so, because I'm the adult. We need to teach them why we're doing what we're doing, why it's not healthy to be online for 10 hours, why it's not healthy to be playing games when they are meant to be studying or meant to be helping out with chores or whatever it is. We need to be telling them why. The other thing is to create boundaries. Parents, you have so much power. Create boundaries on when they can be on their phones when they're at home, right? At dinner time, do not be on your phone. But this is why. When you're about to go and sleep, you should not be on your phones an hour or 2 hours before you go and sleep. And your phones definitely should not be with you in your bed as you sleep. And we need to, all these things, we need to create boundaries and free spaces, free technology spaces in the house, right? So that they understand this and they need to be enforced. If it means writing it and putting up in your house somewhere, but we need to educate them. But again, we cannot educate them if we don't know what is going on with technology. And this is the other thing to help them. To break this addiction from their lives is we need to educate ourselves. It is so important, because we cannot teach our children from nothing when there is nothing in the barrel. We need to educate ourselves. And yes, I know it is overwhelming and there is so much to learn, but we need to be intentional. Begin the journey. It is not too late. Even now, you may have a child and you think they are totally gone. I'm not getting through. Well, there is hope. Begin by educating yourself. There is so much online about how you can help a child to navigate this world, this new world that they're in, this digital world that they're in. There is so much information. There's no excuse to say there is where I don't know what to do. There is so much that you can read up on, but begin to do that. Watch videos, tutorials, trainings. They are there online. Read documents, read studies. There's just so much that you can do to educate yourself, because again, you cannot talk from a place of nothing. And just a quick story on that. There was a child that came to me and they just came to me and said, hey, is Google evil? Well, yeah, is it evil? And I'm like, no, it's not. But they thought it was evil because their parents taught them that, and when we are talking to our kids, please remember it needs to be from a place of fact. Like, we've researched this, we've really gone through all the angles, because again, even as we research something, there are so many different points of view on one topic. So make sure that you're getting this perspective from different angles, that you've done a thorough research. Because remember, there are agendas online. So you can read an article and there's an agenda for that article, and you're just talking from that one perspective. But make sure that you are reading from different angles, different perspectives, so you get a bigger, a wider picture of what you are talking to your child about, and this is so important. And like I said, there is hope, and I'm a Christian, and there is another thing that you need to draw on, and that is the Holy Spirit, and that is prayer, because this is a new war that we are fighting, right? And technology is the new war, right? And this is one way that the enemy comes in and destroys our children, and we don't even know it. And here we are, and we're telling them to avoid drugs and strangers and so on and so on. But we're giving our children tablets when they are bored, and we don't even know that that is where the enemy is coming through. That's the foothold that he is using to get into your children's lives and hearts, and imparting different perspectives that are not according to his will. And we need to understand this and be careful, and we need to ask the Holy Spirit for help, especially when we don't know what to do, especially with this plethora of information that is out there. It can just feel like a fire hydrant, like it's just too much. But as we ask God for help to help us parent our children in this digital age, to give us new strategies on how to educate them and teach them, and how to guide them, he is the most important thing. First of all, we need to be doing. We need to be asking him for help, because without him, we cannot do anything, right? We need his wisdom on how to raise our kids, and that's the starting point. And then he will open the way, right? But again, we need to be intentional as parents. Do we want to educate ourselves? Do we want to do we understand the value of educating ourselves, of to break that addiction in our children's lives? Do we know all this? Are we hungry for that, or it's just this other thing, and let them just deal with it on their own? We cannot take a backseat anymore. Also, like I said, there's reduced screen time. We need to about the boundaries, teach them about offline and online and how to balance that. There are so many practical things we can do, but it starts with us, so with that, I think these are the main things that I think to touch on right now, because they are kids. So let's begin to help them reduce the screen time. If it means cutting phones off for a season, but again, with understanding, talking to them, about why we are doing what we're doing, and then creating boundaries about where they can use their phones and how they can use their phones, where they go online, and so on and so on, and then taking a break offline and online. These things are all important. So with that, I've come to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for taking this little time with me. And I appreciate that so much, but I'll be back next week to keep on talking about this and from a teen point of view. So I cannot wait, and I'll see you next week, and goodbye.